Welcome, Vault Dwellers. My name is Nacho Bidness, and this is episode 18 of my Fallout 4 No Loot Challenge run. In short, I am not allowed to use the A button here on Xbox to pick up anything out of the world or out of a container and put it into my inventory. The notable exception is crops in my settlements. We're playing on survival mode, and I need something for my character to eat, since you can't loot dead animals, and I need something to barter with to get the junk that I need to play the game. We are standing here in Good Neighbor immediately after the end of last episode, or at least almost immediately. You can see that I am severely injured. I stuck my head back into the one warehouse I didn't check before, just trying to clear that stupid clear the warehouse quest, and what do you know? There was one last trigger man in there who did a YOLO run at me. I took him out, no problem. But then I went looking for a water pump or something around here to try and drink, just a dirty puddle something, because I was headed back to my own settlement. If I got sick, I'd see my own doctor. Yeah, this back alley over here had 4 triggermen in it. I knew that was a possibility with the Silver Shroud quest, but I didn't know that if you did not have the Silver Shroud quest telling you to go down that alley, there would be triggermen there. And they surprised me, and they almost killed me. So I am way too close to dead to risk going back to Hangman's Alley. And even if I could sleep on a dirty mattress in the street, well, it's only 10 caps for a room for the night here at the Hotel Rexford. So I am going to take advantage of that. I tell you what, when you play survival mode, the different little hotels and stuff around the map really do come in a lot more handy than they do on other game modes. So we're going to get ourselves a good sleep. Before we do that, of course, we want to make sure that we are well fed and hydrated, because if you don't do this, it is frankly a good way to get sick. I'm running low on bottles, and that's why I'm running low on purified water. I can buy more, but it's expensive. I'd rather just buy bottles, and that's why I was going to try and find a dirty puddle to drink out of. I should probably stop doing that. Last episode, I managed to catch an infection, and I have an infection now. That's not good. We are going to have to rush back to Hangman's Alley, because we have a doctor there, and as far as I know, there is not a doctor in Good Neighbor. However, before I do that, I do want to try and get this quest turned in, because I have never taken that quest turned it in with Hancock as my companion. I'm kind of curious if he has any byplay with Whitechapel Charlie here.
Hey, Charlie.
I've heard some exterminator cleaned out the rats in the old warehouses. Know anything about it?
Not a thing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, that's right. And I don't know why I'm handing you all these caps. Funny world.
It sure is a funny old world, Whitechapel Charlie. Thank you for the bottle caps. Before I picked up this infection, I had planned to go unlock Kate from the combat zone. We're right in the neighborhood, and for once, I don't have to spend a couple hours in between episodes running around and gathering crops and selling crops so that I can get ammo. I had Ashmaker awarded to me at the end of last episode, and that means that I had a surplus of caps, frankly. However, with this infection, unfortunately, it does mean that I am going to need to head directly back to Hangman's Alley. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Do not fight the super mutants. Just sprint on by. And hopefully, MacReady will... Hancock. I've been adventuring with MacReady for a long time. Oh, no. Well, I hope I can stim pack him without having to mess around with fighting these super mutants, because I don't want anything to do with them. But that just looks like it's not going to be the case. We're going to have to go into combat with an infection, and that's bad news, my friends. But we also don't want to have Hancock mad at us immediately after we pick him up as a companion. I saw a super mutant go run off this way. Let's see if we can get some sneak attacks on him. Very good.
I guess you could call that.
And I hope that will be our last encounter between here and Hangman's Alley, because the coast road here is completely clear. We can stop time just for a minute, because I did want to talk at the beginning of this episode about perks. I have level 39 coming up, and there are going to be 2 perks that I want at level 39. I want Gun Nut 4 and I want Armor 4 right away, which means that I'm going to bank my perk at level 38. I've also been talking about how I'd like to get up to Sniper and Penetrator. However, if I go ahead and spend the 2 perks that I have, I'm still going to be short of what I need for Sniper. And when I do get there at level 37, I'm banking my stuff for... it's going to be a long time before I am able to actually put a rank into Sniper. Meanwhile, I died a lot last video. I think that the right answer here is going to be taking a couple ranks of endurance, and I'm curious exactly what that's going to do to my hit points. So right now we're starting at 179 out of 280, and if I take a rank and a rank, what does that do for me? 325. 45 more hit points, not too shabby, and that will only get better as we continue to gain levels. So I am going to get back to Hangman's Alley. I'm going to get my character healed from this infection, and we'll try to figure out what we're going to do next. Well, no pit stop at Hangman's Alley is completely wasted time. We were able to pick some crops, sell some crops, and buy some junk from our vendor, and we were able to get ourselves well rested, completely healed up on our radiation, get our infection cured, all that good stuff. A couple other things we can handle while we're here, though. One is that I can start tracking Hancock instead of MacReady. I always like to have my current companion as a map marker, just to make sure that they haven't decided to just go off on their own adventure. So, yep, we got Hancock on our tracker now. There he is. We can also, while we're here, see if we can maybe make some vegetable starch. This stuff all comes out of our settlement network before it comes out of our inventory. So, like, I'm not carrying 24 mute fruit before this, but there are 24 scattered throughout the different settlements in the network.
Thanks for the
And
breakdown.
my fertilizer reserves have come back very nicely after they mysteriously and precipitously dropped in an earlier episode after attack. So we can make ourselves some jet while we're here, and we can also check and see that yes, we have acquired enough bone to make another batch of cutting fluid, which is worth 3 oil. This is why I've been buying acid at every opportunity and any bones that I can find in vendor inventories at any chance that I can get. Another thing we can do here, excuse me, Hancock, we can go ahead and finish upgrading Overseer's Guardian. And we are going to have to take this receiver off, which means that we have to make a standard receiver. And actually, we're doing pretty good on all of our resources. The only thing that is even slightly low is oil, and that's still not bad. In fact, we'll have plenty of oil the next time we take a settlement to build as many turrets as we want. But even better, we are now going to be able to attach this 308 receiver to our Overseer's Guardian, taking it from a base damage of 147 to 162. It's pretty good improvement. One other thing I wanted to do while I was here, I have mentioned that I wanted my first 3 stores to finance the last 3 stores. And indeed, we're getting close. We have 1,100 bottle caps in the workbench. And the next store I build, the bottle caps come from the workbench before they come from my character's inventory. And I was under the impression that all the stores cost 3,000 for the top level, but that is not the case. In fact, a clothing store is only 1,000 caps at top level. However, I am not currently in need of being able to do boutique shopping in my settlement. More importantly, I think that I would like to have a place to buy food and drinks in my own settlement. And so that means that I am going to build a bar. Now, I don't quite have 1,500 caps in my workbench, but close enough. Because this increases happiness, that will also hopefully increase the productivity and the cap output of the stores that I already have, as well as adding its own contribution, just making it a little bit sooner for us to get all the different vendor types in here. But we are going to have to find somebody to staff that bar, and I think I know just the guy. Last time I saw him, he was hanging out right here. He has got such a nice fancy hat. Looks like a friendly fella, so we are going to make him our bartender. I have in the past had Sheffield as my bartender, but I can't see Mary being so cruel as to make a recovering alcoholic be the person in charge of the booze for the settlement. Now, my immediate next step is going to be boring, and I'm not going to show it to you because I'm going to have to go pick crops. I thought maybe I wouldn't have to between this episode and the last episode, but yeah, we've only got 60 rounds of 308 ammo, And although I've got a lot of caps in hand, there are some very expensive armor pieces that we're going to start seeing soon. And I would like to start saving up for those because, yeah, the armor I've got is good enough for now, but it's not going to cut it in the end game.
What have you got to trade today?
Of course, we're still a long way from the end game, but, plan ahead. Meanwhile, we can sell that 45 ammo and that sniper rifle that we don't need anymore because we stole the receiver off of it, and that's going to help our carry weight out a little bit more. I am going to go pick some crops, and I think I'm going to take Hancock with me into Diamond City. I can't remember. I'm not sure if there's any kind of special interactions with the guards or anything with Hancock, since ghouls are banned from Diamond City. I'll hit record when we get closer to there. If anything interesting happens, I will share it with you. Otherwise, I'm going to have a little think about exactly which thing we're going to tackle next. So an interesting thing has happened on my way from Starlight back to Hangman's Alley. No, not that I'm sick. That is parasites and not going to hurt us too bad. I normally take some train tracks that come on kind of the south side of Starlight and follow those down to Grey Garden and hence to Overland Station. However, it's been very recently that I visited both of those settlements. They probably don't have crops again, and so the road is actually a shorter route. However, I have now reached level 35, and that means that this fella has spawned. His name is Reggie Botaria, and he, for some reason, spawns without full health. So Old Faithful is not going to be our gun of choice to start with this encounter. It is going to be the Overseer's Guardian. But this fella has a reputation for being an extremely tough enemy. So I am curious if I am going to be able to take him out or if I'm going to struggle. I figured I'd go ahead and turn my radio off, put my armor on, hit record, and we'll just kind of see what happens. That was anticlimactic. I tell you, 4x on sneak attack damage is no joke. And even though we've got a bunch of rad roaches coming at us, because we get so many shots with our 10mm pistol, I think that we're probably going to be alright. We might get an additional disease from this encounter, but I don't think that we're going to be in danger of dying. Because our armor is strong enough to kind of hold those guys off along with Vats defense. I suppose, actually in hindsight, I probably should have just used the baseball bat and saved the bullets, but I don't know. It was a lot of rad roaches. I went to the pistol. Anyways, I'm going to come and torture myself and see what he had. A Furious Deathclaw Gauntlet. You know what? I don't even feel bad that I can't pick that up. So, I still haven't decided exactly what we're going to do next request, but since that happened on my way, I figured I would hit record and share the results. See you again in Hangman's Alley. Well, I took Hancock shopping with me in Diamond City, and really nothing interesting happened. There were a couple of dialogue lines from some guards saying that ghouls weren't allowed, even though I did go ahead and get him a bandana and some wraparound goggles just to try and cover up his face, but I think his hands still kind of give it away.
Hey.
Nevertheless, we did manage to pick up some new armor pieces for Hancock here. We have come across our first piece of sturdy combat armor. I find it irritating that there's no indication whether it's light, sturdy, or heavy in the name of the item once any mods are applied. You can only tell by looking at the stats, which means we may have passed up some other sturdy pieces before. I frankly don't know. Even so, we can increase his survivability a little bit, and although the sturdy does weigh more, even with the ultralight modifier, I would rather have a pack mule that can carry a little bit less, but is getting killed less often compared to a pack mule that carries more, but is constantly dying. So, any chance I get to improve his armor, I will. Have not found a piece of combat armor for his chest yet. But just like Betsy there, I think that this stuff actually deserves to be retired. It's been something that we have used since very early in this playthrough, and so I am going to go ahead and put them on this armor rack here to stay forever. And can't ever pick him up again because that would be against the rules that I have set. We got a couple other toys in Diamond City while we were there. We got ourselves a lab coat, which is worth intelligence 2 if we are smart enough to remember to put this on before turning in quests. We can get just a little bit more experience points. Otherwise, our loadout is looking good, but there's one other thing that I want to do. Because I have had Armorer 3 for quite some time, and right now I can get... well, that's odd. Why is it not showing up on my action points? Oh, because I'm well rested. Right. So normally I would not be able to get 4 shots off on my combat rifle in VATS, but because I'm well rested, I've got an extra 2 agility. But I've got another way that I can get a more permanent boost to my action points. Way back in episode 2, I said that I needed to have another rank of armor for every additional effect that I was going to apply to my backpack here. And I also felt like it would be appropriate to have the right kind of perks. So, for example, if I wanted to have this explosives, I should have Armor 3, because the patch counts as one effect, and the extra carry weight is another, and explosives is another, and I also feel like I should have Demo Expert for that. I don't have that, and although I do have Medic, health regeneration is not a part of survival mode, and even if this were to add a health regeneration effect, that would be sidestepping one of the rules of survival. So I am electing to add this ammo. And I did a little bit of playing around with it off camera without saving, and it has the effect that I can get 4 shots off with my combat rifle in a single round of VATS. We still have our charisma gear. We have that hazmat suit that I picked up last time, and although I am not thrilled about lugging around 5 extra weight all the time, especially in light of, you may notice, my backpack was giving me 170 carry capacity. Now that I've modified it, I'm down to 160. So I am getting a little bit tight on the amount of crops that I can bring back to market. But, as I was saying, this hazmat suit is going to be something that I need later in the game. And rather than search for it at the time when I actually need it, I am just going to go ahead and just take it now and be planning for the future. Still have our charisma gear. We've got our smarty pants and our smarty hat with the lab coat and the Ushanka hat. We've got plenty of food. In fact, eating some of this is going to help go ahead and get our carry weight down a little bit. Got a couple of buff out from Hancock. Kind of every time you talk to him, he hands you some drugs, which is not really Mary's thing, but hey, it's something we can sell. And we also have ourselves quite a bit of ammo. You know, I would still like to have a little bit more than 136 308 for the combat rifle, but it is nice to get down to only 3 ammo types instead of 4. Also, I'm going to save this extra bags mod for my backpack because when I do go picking crops, an extra 10 capacity is actually quite a bit of potatoes and corn and stuff, so yeah, it will affect how much I'm able to bring back to market. I am also picking up lunch boxes because the weight is 0. So if I find one in vendor inventory, I pick it up just against the chance that I might someday take Explosives Expert. Sorry, Demo Expert. I keep calling it the wrong thing. And against the day I take Demo Expert. I've also got some Captain Cosmos toy boxes, getting closer and closer to finding out if that stuff is any good. And yeah, just have like a couple extra crops that I'm going to go sell. And we are now going to be able to move on to the next thing. And that is going to be actually clearing out Hardware Town for a second time. We got this quest from a settler, just a random settler here in Hangman's Alley. And we got it quite some time ago. So it's probably for the best that if we want that easy experience points, that we should probably go take care of that right now. Let's get it active in our quest log, and the route that I'm going to take, because it's clear, is the road right past Diamond City. We can take this road almost all the way to Hardware Town without encountering a single enemy, and I will join you once again once we're at Hardware Town. We're just outside of Hardware Town, and Hancock has already got this party started, and I was expecting raiders. The quest log says raiders, but that does not look like a raider. That looks like a gunner. And gunners are a lot more dangerous than raiders, even now. But regardless, this is familiar territory. It shouldn't be hard to clear this place out. And the only thing is that we just need to be a little bit careful and not go charging through this door. Even though we've got a quest marker right on the other side there, can and probably will be, shoot, missed, other gunners in here. But since our sneak's not been broken yet, we still have a chance to take this guy out quickly and quietly. And we could leave now, but frankly we will probably get chased out the door. And since Vat's defense is so crazy powerful, as long as we can stay in Vats while they're shooting at us, we'll be in good shape. This guy charged right past us, and he's holding a stick. Buddy, you brought a stick to a gunfight. I just don't see why you would do that. Are there anybody else that wants to come charging up those stairs? No. But this guy will stick his head around the corner with 3 shots at 70%. Yes. We'll just pop his head clean off. We'll worry about that level up here in a minute. But now that we're hidden, looks like this place is clear. Or at least clear enough. I don't see anything shuffling as I move around, so yeah, I think that this place is emptied out. Let's go back to Hangman's Alley and turn this in. There's the settler that gave us this quest, but before we talk to him, let's put on our smarty pants and our smarty hat. And clearly, you know, this is the person who is the smartest one in the room. I mean, look at how fantastic that hat looks. Anyway, Mr. Settler, since you don't have any other name than Settler, I did have some
I took
luck.
care of those
It
raiders.
wasn't raiders, though. It was gunners. You kind of lied to me, but it's okay. Gave me 100 bottle caps. Oh, and my crops have come up,
Seems
so
to be growing well.
that's great. We'll go ahead and pick those, and we got a big pile of experience points. What to do about this perk? Because we are level 37, and when we get level 39, we're going to get gun nut in armor. So 38 is going to get banked until 39, so we just kind of have this one perk point to send out with not a lot of immediate usage. You know, since I took some endurance last time, and I'm still wanting to get to sniper, let's go ahead and get another rank of perception. I clearly set this character up wrong, I think, to start this challenge. I don't know, like I think it was right for the start of the challenge, but now that we're moving into the mid game, yeah, that starter character would just be so hard to play. Sneaky sniper is really like what it seems like every one of my characters ends up evolving into. I should have known better. Anyway, I'm going to pick some crops, and then we're going to run another quest. To back it in. It's early morning, just outside of Hangman's Alley, and I think I know what we're going to do next. Now, an awful lot. Oh, hey, Hancock admires me suddenly for reasons. Anyways, that's a great thing, but not so great is just the large number of quests that we are simply not able to do. There's a couple of them that I haven't tried, like I haven't tried Silver Shroud or Trouble Brewing, but I know those quests involve picking up items. And so far, my companions have not been very helpful when it comes to picking up items for me for advancing quests. And whether we call these fetch quests or not, there are just a lot of quests in Fallout 4 that are either completed or advanced by picking up items. To be fair, there have been a number of quests that I have been able to complete, but I have been frustrated lately, and so I am going to do a quest that I know I can actually complete, and that is Here Kitty Kitty. We saw Ashes, the kitty cat, run out of the vault, and one of the little girls in the vault begged us to go and find her kitty cat, and that is just something that's right up Mary's alley. And I'm not sure why we get a quest marker on a lost cat. That really seems like something that I don't know, like defies logical explanation. But, hey, we've got a quest marker for this lost cat. I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of it. But first, I'm going to see if I can take out all of these enemies at the random spawn location that is just outside of Hangman's Alley. We've come at it from kind of the other end, but we are... Oh, we missed. That was a hard shot, that guy on the run like that. But we got him in the end. There's still at least one other person over there. I'm not sure if I really want... Yeah. I was going to say, I'm not sure if I really want to go try and take him out, but who am I kidding? I am not going to be able to resist. And... Oh, there is also a Protectron. So, let's go take a couple shots on a Protectron. That 4x sneak attack damage is... Like I said, it is no joke. Anyways, Ashes is going to be right over here. Hello, little kitty cat. Would you like to go home?
Ashes, go home. Aaron misses you.
No, realistically, this should definitely be something where we have to pick Ashes up and put him in our inventory, because when was the last time a cat ever obeyed anything like come here, let alone go home? But what do you know? And Hancock, so the whole reason why I wanted to do this was because I thought it might be kind of funny to take Hancock into the vault. They are so nervous about people from outside the vault. Bringing a ghoul in ought to generate some voice lines. But he has decided that he just wants to hang out in my settlement until he can tell me how great I am. So, yeah, Hancock, you have actually been more useful than some of my other companions. I'll give you
It's
that.
real rare these days. Find someone who's not willing to take things the way they're handed to them. Too many good folks not willing to get their hands dirty. And too many assholes taking advantage of it. Look at what happened at Diamond City. Before McDonough took over, it was a half-decent place to live.
I mean, except for ghouls, it still is.
I thought he and I had a pretty happy childhood.
I don't know.
But then he decides he's gonna try and get elected with
If we could get that taken care of and make everybody welcome, I think that Diamond City would be pretty great.
Before you know it, you got families with kids lining up to drag folks they called neighbor out of their homes and throw them to the ruins.
Well, that's a pretty fascist thing to do. But why did he pick on ghouls?
Campaign against the ghouls.
Because he thought he could win. There'd always been a pretty clear divide between the folks living in the stands and those down on the field. I'm not convinced they didn't do it just to improve their view. I remember storming into his office above the stands after the inauguration speech. He was just standing there, staring out the window, watching as the city turned on the ghouls. He didn't even look at me. Just said, "I did it, John. It's finally mine." Should have killed him right there.
Messed up, man.
Changed anything. Instead, I pleaded with him, begged him to call it off. He said he couldn't. He had nothing against the ghouls. He was just carrying out the will of the people. And he couldn't betray the voters.
Boy, that's an excuse that sounds just way too familiar.
Mile-long smile. He never smiled like that when we were kids. I didn't even recognize it.
Wait,
What do you mean you
what
didn't
do you mean
recognize him?
you didn't recognize him?
I don't know. Just didn't seem like the guy I grew up with. When I'd first heard the rumors he'd been swapped for a synth, thinking back on that night, I thought it made a lot of sense. But now, I don't. I've seen him since then. And
I'm trying to remember. I think
that perfectly.
I think there's a like post in-game thing where you find out that yes, he is actually a Sith.
Him and that whole damn city.
He murdered those ghouls.
Him and that whole damn city. I still wasn't a ghoul at this point, so I didn't have to leave, but I couldn't bring myself to stay in that cesspool after that. I'd been
I keep saying it. I like Hancock's moral stance. I just wish that he wouldn't. He could get off the chems.
Most couldn't get used to the good neighbor lifestyle. I brought them food for a couple of weeks, but after a while, they just disappeared. Folks in Diamond City signed their death warrants, and all the good people were willing to just sit by and watch. I felt like I was the only one who saw how screwed up things truly were. Who couldn't just pretend things were fine. Still feel that way. Or I did. Until I know I run my mouth, but having someone who sees the world for what it is, and it's meant a lot to me. I feel damn.
I feel
I
exactly
am
the
glad to
same,
have you
Hancock.
as a friend as
Been a hell
well.
of a ride thus far.
Then here's to a long
Hey.
road with plenty of ammo. Well, thanks for hearing me out.
I feel like if he was not a ghoul, that maybe Mary would flirt with him, but
Take a little.
him being a ghoul, I think there's just no physical attraction or spark there for Mary. So yeah, the ghouls got kicked out of Diamond City. I tell you, I've talked about this with one of my more prolific commenters, a person who goes by the handle of Fallout Gamer, that I just feel like we as humans we are evolved from tribal apes, and man, if there's gonna be an us, that means it feels like there's always got to be a them, and it makes me wonder if we're ever gonna be any better as a species than we are now. Not very optimistic about it. Anyway, those are deep thoughts that maybe don't belong in a Let's Play. So let's go ahead and mosey on along to the vault, and we'll do some exploring. I will hit record again if anything interesting starts to happen. Well, the vault was kind of a bust. In fact, there was so little of any interest that I actually cut that part of the episode. There was no experience points for turning in the Here Kitty Kitty quest, and other quests in the vault have not popped up yet. Did fully explore it, so hopefully next time when we get there, we will have some quests to do. I came back to Hangman's Alley and just did a little bit of work to put some lights up, because it was getting pretty dim even during the day, moving around in here. And also, while I was at it, kind of just for fun and for my own enjoyment, I turned my little shrine to Betsy and my old armor into a little weapon closet here. So added a little bit of delay to turning on the lights, and yeah, I think it turned out pretty nice. I wanted to kind of show it off at night here and just let you be able to see it a little better. And this was certainly something I could not have done without Place Anywhere, because those shutters are actually like warehouse doors that are scaled down and rotated 90 degrees. Just something I could not have done with the vanilla game. Anyway, I think I know what we're going to do next, because I am still looking to try and get my companion affinities up, and really, frankly, putting off the main quest as long as possible, because I am just pretty sure that at that point the run is going to be a fail, and I'm having fun doing it. So we are going to go and do the only quest that I think is left in my quest log that is in the neighborhood, and something that I can actually accomplish, and that is to go get the railroad unlocked and follow the Freedom Trail. So, just got myself well rested, and we're going to get ourselves a little drink here so that we're hydrated, and we're going to head on out. I will hit record again once we get a little bit closer to the Old North Church. We are standing just outside the Old North Church, and I'm going to take this opportunity to plug another series that I'm doing, which is Fallout in Real Life. I took a month-long road trip last year and was very fortunate to be able to do that. And one of the things that I did was I visited a lot of real-life Fallout locations. Didn't have much time in Boston, but I was able to hit up all of the faction headquarters. So I don't know if the Old North Church video is going to be up by the time this episode of No Loot comes out, but be on the lookout for it. One thing that I will point out, and then I will move on, is that if this door is here in the real world, you are not going through it. In actuality, you come in from the side of the street rather than the courtyard, and you can go in through that front door. There's a line, and you're supposed to pay to take a tour. I basically just ducked my head in and took a very few brief pictures. The place to buy your tickets for the tour of the church and of the catacombs is in this building. I think there was also maybe a gift shop. Can't really remember. I was double parked off in that direction. You also have to have a resident permit in order to park in this neighborhood, so yeah, I had to be quick to avoid having my car towed and kind of ruining my vacation. Enough of that, let's go ahead and get inside here. There's going to be some ghouls, and unless I am sadly mistaken, they're going to be pretty easy to take out because of my awesome 10mm pistol here. And where is it? Oh, there he is. I took a hit, but it's going to be okay. They just aren't that strong of vest defense. It's going to get me and save me even if the stagger doesn't. So, and I don't think there's any more in here. They do have this thing actually kind of set up correctly with the pulpit on the right side of the room, or I should say correct side. And the pews are weird in this place. They're like these little cubicles that you go into, and I don't know how you're supposed to really see the front, and I'm not really sure the purpose of them. Like, they completely isolate you from the other people in church. The catacombs below the church are another real feature, but I, again, just elected not to take the tour because I didn't have the time. I could not find parking. I tell you, people talk about driving in Boston like it's some kind of horror show. Maybe it was because it was like a Tuesday afternoon. I don't know. It wasn't that bad to me, but parking was just a nightmare. I ended up bribing a parking attendant to essentially double park my car under the table at one point just to be able to get out and see a couple of the sites, like the Boston Common, the pond where Swan hangs out. Now, I did take a more dangerous route here than was strictly required because I wanted to get myself as much experience as I could. So I traded a whole lot of bullets for a whole lot of experience, and I am now kind of sitting pretty on level 38. We're going to bank that perk, and...
Oh, so it starts with R.
Brilliant. We're going to bank that perk until level 39, and then we're going to get gun nut and armor as discussed, and I am not going to make you sit through the rest of me dialing in this code. Here we go. I have to say that the IT manager at work would be horrified at this password. You don't have the password for your super secret organization be the name of the organization. That's like having your password be password.
Who the hell are you?
Why don't you tell me who you are first?
In a
We're
world
going to try all these speech checks, although Desmona is not as easy to persuade as a man because
we're the
we have Black Widow,
my question.
and men are easier to persuade, but I am
followed
not
the
your
trail
enemy.
looking for the railroad. I'm not your enemy.
If that's true, you have nothing to fear. Who told you how to contact us?
You know, I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember. Frankly, I just know the game.
I helped Carl out of a jam. He knows a guy who knows a guy, and they hooked me up at the lead.
We'll look into that. I'm Desdemona, and I'm the leader of the railroad. And you are? Deacon, where have you been?
You're having a party. What gives with my invitation?
I need intel. Who is this?
Wow. Newsflash, boss. This lady is kind of...
So I'm curious what he's going to say since I've done so little on the main. Oh.
Glad someone
It
noticed.
looks like he's not going to say anything since I've done basically nothing of the main story.
Seriously, you haven't heard of her? She's
Okay, leader of the Minutemen.
It seems like the whole Commonwealth's flying her flag.
So you're vouching for her?
Yes, trust me. She's someone we want on our side.
That changes things. So, stranger, why did you want to meet with us anyway?
Well, here again, Mary doesn't really have a reason to.
My
She
son,
is going to
Sean,
say
was
that
kidnapped.
he's
I'm looking for help.
someone to help find
Someone
Sean.
stole your boy? That's terrible. Do you know who did it? For your sake, I hope the Institute isn't involved.
Well, now that you mention the Institute, there's a good chance,
I don't know who took him.
but for now, we're just
I just-
looking for help.
Want help getting him back.
For your sake, I hope the Institute is not involved. I'll have Deacon look into this. If anyone can find... If we're going to be dealing with you, I need to make sure we're on the same page. You know what a synth is, right?
I've heard a lot of rumors.
Rumors about them.
They are synthetic humans created by the Institute. So close to real people that the distinction is meaningless. The Institute treats synths as property, as tools.
I mean, if they're machines,
Aren't synths just machines? And machines are tools.
They started that way. But if it's impossible to tell a single difference between a synth and a human, they must be treated the same. So we seek to
ooh, Hancock disliked that. Oops.
give them a chance.
That's right. I need to remember that he's with me.
The only question that matters. Would you risk your life for your fellow man? Even if that man is a synth?
I think Mary probably would not. She's still on the fence about artificial intelligence and whether or not it is something that deserves rights and freedom. But she knows what the answer is that they want to hear.
It's no
So
difference to me if it's a human or a synth.
Well said. We'll do
that's
we
what she's
can
going to
for
say.
your missing boy. What the Institute has done to your family and others is what drives us. Normally, you're exactly the type of person we try and recruit. But right now, we don't have the time to train up a new agent. There are, however, other valuable ways.
So I probably don't need much training. Mary, is something of a badass, considering that she was just a run-of-the-mill lawyer that didn't have combat training or anything else up until very recently. Still, you got a big pile of experience points, and we can talk to Deacon here.
Hope you didn't mind the reception. When you tango with the Institute, you gotta be careful when someone new gets on the dance floor.
Fair enough. I hear these people are pretty ruthless.
Whatever keeps you alive.
Exactly. Kind of killed our chance at a friendly first impression, though. But it's all good now. I vouched for you. Nobody got shot. Still, I would consider it a close personal favor if you didn't sell us out to the Institute.
Consider it done. I will not sell you out to the Institute unless, of course, you want me to pick things up.
So tell me, why did you vouch for me?
In our little outfit, it's my job to know things. And with everything you've done, it's clear you're capable. A dangerous enemy. And I'm betting a valuable ally.
But
Why would you trust me, though?
You can't be taking it all on faith.
I don't know if we can trust you, but I hope we can. We just survived a hell of a crisis, so we may just be a teeny-weeny bit. If everything was sunshine and bottle caps, we'd probably play a longer getting-to-know-you game. But we don't have that.
All right. Well, I wonder what happened.
Really? Is that all?
You just don't give up. All right. I have a short list of people I think would be a good fit for our family. You piqued my interest, so maybe I asked around. Did my homework.
Is that why I saw you all over the Commonwealth?
Found you instead. Thanks for saving me the... So Dez wants me to make you a tourist. That's what we call... I'm just gonna come out and say this.
I'm interested if it'll help me find
Got a
Sean.
job. Too big for me, just perfect for the two of us. You help me out, we turn a few. Then, if you get into a bind and need some help, your buddies in the railroad got your back.
Alright, well, let's see what the job is then.
Let's meet up at the old freeway outside of Lexington. I'll fill you in once you get there.
Alright. I am curious whether or not I'm going to be able to do that quest by looting by proxy. I have a feeling that we're going to get to the end of that dungeon and be unable to proceed. But that is a question for another day. I think that we've done enough to call this episode complete. If you liked this episode, be sure to hit the like button. If you didn't like, please tell me why in a comment so that I can do better for you next time. Constructive criticism is the best way that I know to grow as a content creator. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell. Until then, my name is Nacho Bidness, and I'm saying it's a great big wasteland out there. Let's go have fun in it.